Joseph Stiglitz, a Nobel laureate in economics, has extensively explored the dynamics of inequality and its policy implications in various works, including The Origins of Inequality and Policies to Contain It. In this analysis, Stiglitz delves into the structural and institutional factors that drive inequality, emphasizing that disparities in wealth and income are not inevitable but are the result of specific policy choices and economic systems. This essay will explore his key arguments, the mechanisms he identifies as contributors to inequality, and the policy measures he proposes to mitigate these disparities. Understanding inequality, a structural problem. Stiglitz argues that inequality is not merely the result of differences in individual talent, effort, or luck. Instead, it is deeply rooted in the structure of the economy and the policies that govern it. He identifies several systemic factors that exacerbate inequality, including 1. Market power and monopoly. Stiglitz highlights how the concentration of market power in a few hands allows corporations to set prices, suppress wages, and stifle competition. This consolidation of power leads to higher profits for the few while eroding the income of workers and small businesses. For example, tech giants and pharmaceutical companies often exploit their dominant positions to maintain high profit margins at the expense of consumers and employees. 2. Financialization. The financial sector has grown disproportionately relative to the rest of the economy, prioritizing short-term profits and speculative investments over productive activities. This shift has enriched a small elite while contributing little to economic growth or job creation. 3. Globalization. While globalization has lifted millions out of poverty, particularly in developing countries, it has also exacerbated inequality within nations. Wealthy individuals and corporations have benefited disproportionately from global trade and capital flows, while workers in developed economies face wage stagnation and job insecurity due to outsourcing and automation. 4. Taxation and public policy. Stiglitz criticizes regressive tax systems that disproportionately benefit the wealthy. He points out that tax cuts for high-income individuals and corporations, combined with loopholes and tax havens, have undermined the redistributive role of the state, leading to increased inequality. The social and economic costs of inequality. Stiglitz emphasizes that inequality is not just a moral issue, but also a significant economic problem. High levels of inequality can undermine economic stability, social cohesion, and democratic institutions. Some of the key costs include 1. Reduced economic growth. Inequality can lead to lower economic growth by suppressing consumer demand. When wealth is concentrated in the hands of a few, the majority of people have less disposable income to spend, which reduces overall economic activity. 2. Erosion of social mobility. In highly unequal societies, access to quality education, healthcare, and opportunities is often limited for lower-income individuals. This lack of access perpetuates poverty across generations, reducing social mobility and the potential for individuals to improve their economic status. 3. Political polarization and instability. Economic inequality often translates into political inequality, where the wealthy exert disproportionate influence over policy making. This imbalance can lead to public disillusionment, eroding trust in democratic institutions, and fueling populist and authoritarian movements. Policy recommendations to contain inequality. Stiglitz outlines a comprehensive set of policy measures aimed at reducing inequality and promoting a more equitable distribution of wealth and income. These include 1. Progressive taxation. Stiglitz advocates for a more progressive tax system where higher income individuals and corporations pay a larger share of their earnings in taxes. He also supports closing tax loopholes and cracking down on tax evasion to ensure that the wealthy contribute their fair share. 2. Strengthening social safety nets. Expanding access to healthcare, education, and social welfare programs is essential for reducing inequality. Stiglitz argues for universal healthcare and affordable higher education as critical investments in human capital that can help level the playing field. 3. Labor market reforms. Policies that empower workers, such as raising the minimum wage, strengthening labor unions, and ensuring workplace protections, are vital for reducing income disparities. Stiglitz also supports measures to reduce the gender pay gap and promote diversity in the workplace. 4. Regulating the financial sector. To address the distortions caused by financialization, Stiglitz calls for stricter regulation of financial institutions. This includes breaking up large banks, implementing transaction taxes, and encouraging long-term investments over short-term speculation. 5. Promoting innovation and competition. Stiglitz argues for policies that foster competition and innovation while curbing monopolistic practices. Antitrust laws should be enforced more rigorously to prevent the concentration of market power and protect consumers. 6. Environmental sustainability. Recognizing the link between inequality and environmental degradation, Stiglitz advocates for policies that promote sustainable development. Carbon taxes, investments in renewable energy, and green job initiatives can address both economic and environmental challenges. Case studies and empirical evidence. Stiglitz often uses empirical evidence and case studies to support his arguments. For example, he contrasts the Scandinavian model of social democracy with the more laissez-faire approach of the United States. Scandinavian countries, which have more progressive tax systems, robust social safety nets, and higher levels of unionization, tend to have lower levels of inequality and higher social mobility. In contrast, the U.S. has experienced rising inequality and stagnating middle-class incomes due to policies favoring deregulation and tax cuts for the wealthy. Stiglitz also points to historical periods, such as the post-World War II era, when strong government intervention and progressive taxation led to significant reductions in inequality. During this time, many developed countries experienced rapid economic growth and rising living standards for the majority of their populations.